Demobilized officer, finding peace incredibly tedious, would welcome diversion.
That line right there. It's more than just an ad, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a mission statement for a whole generation almost. Legitimate, if possible, but crime, if of a comparatively humorous description, no objection. Excitement essential.
Exactly. It's the perfect entry point into the character we're diving deep on today. It really sets the stage.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a foundational text of the modern thriller, H.C. McNeil's classic Bulldog Drummond, The Adventures of a Demobilized Officer.
And our mission, well, it's pretty ambitious. We're going to unpack Captain Hugh Bulldog Drummond himself.
Right, where did he come from? What were those post-war anxieties, especially that fear of Bolshevism, the Red Scare that sort of fueled his whole existence?
And then there's the plot he stumbles into. It's huge. A sprawling international conspiracy.
It really is, and it blends kind of bizarrely maybe high society crime with this, actual revolutionary fervor.
Yeah, it's a potent mix.
Yeah.
And this deep dive feels vital because Drummond, well, he's a cultural touchstone, isn't he? He captures that emotional whiplash of the 1920s so perfectly.
You've got this hero who literally found surviving trench warfare easier than surviving peacetime.
Yeah.
Civilian life was the real enemy, in a way.
We'll definitely need to get into his skills,
Yeah.
those unique military-honed abilities. And the villains, they are truly memorable. Horrific, really.
Oh, absolutely. And the sheer scale of their plan, to Bolshevize England, it's audacious.
Intellectually ambitious, even if completely malevolent.
And as we navigate all these, complexities of this classic interwar adventure, it's worth noting that this exploration is a production of Eager Dragon Publishing.
Yes, Eager Dragon. They specialize in reimagining these foundational literary works, don't they, through their illustrated classics collection.
Exactly. And their whole approach is about making these vital, sometimes historically tricky texts accessible, providing context for us, the modern reader.
Which is crucial for a book like this one.
Definitely. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The birth of this post-war hero.
Right. To really get Drummond, you have to understand the man who created him, Herman Cyril McNeil, 1888 to 1937. And he wrote, under that famous name, Sapper.
That name, Sapper, it tells you so much right away, doesn't it? It came straight from his military background.
Royal Engineers.
Yeah.
He wasn't just imagining conflict. He'd lived it intimately, brutally.
He served with distinction, didn't he? Military Cross, Lieutenant Colonel. This wasn't some armchair general writing thrillers.
Not at all. And his time in the trenches, that deep immersion in the, the violence, the camaraderie, it just permeates everything he wrote.
And that personal experience really drives the story. McNeil himself, after the war, he struggled.
He found peace incredibly tedious. That's the word he used. And it's not just boredom, is it? It's deeper.
It sounds like a kind of psychological void, a loss of purpose that must have hit thousands of returning soldiers.
Exactly. And he just transplants that feeling directly onto his hero, Captain Hugh Bulldog Drummond, DSO, MC.
Let's just pause on those medals for a second. Distinguished Service Order, Military Cross. This guy isn't just tough. He's a certified hero from the bloodiest war in history up to that point.
His credentials are rock solid, which kind of validates his almost playful search for more adrenaline, doesn't it?
Right. That famous ad, diversion, crime, if of a comparatively humorous description, no objection. He's looking for the game again.
Because the reality of peace is just unbearable for him. It's that core dilemma of the returned soldier. What do you do with these skills, these instincts, in peacetime?
And the skills he has are quite something. Not gym skills, these are battlefield skills, no man's land skills.
Yeah, the sources really detail it. Phenomenal stealth. It says he could move over ground without a single blade of grass rustling.
Which sounds almost supernatural, but it probably reflects real night-raiding techniques from the Western Front.
Absolutely. And if stealth wasn't enough, well, he was lethal. Close combat. Could kill a man with his bare hands in a second.
Chillingly simple. It suggests that real, practical battlefield stuff.
Beyond that, though, he's also the quintessential British gentleman sportsman.
Hey.
Right? Jiu-jitsu, boxing, crack shot, good at poker.
And cricket. For the Free Foresters, apparently. So he has that veneer of civilian respectability, but underneath.
Underneath, he's deadly. But the key, interestingly, isn't just the physical stuff. It's his mind.
His common sense, specifically. The text suggests that this grounded perspective lets him equal and beat his opponents, even if they have a superior intellect.
He's the practical, patriotic Englishman outsmarting the cynical, overly intellectual villain. It's a classic trope.
And this whole template, the capable, witty, sort of anti-establishment gentleman hero with a knack for violence, it had legs, didn't it?
Oh, definitely. You can draw a straight line from Drummond to other characters.
Yeah.
W.E. Johns Biggles is a really clear example.
But the big one, the really fascinating link, is James Bond.
Right. Ian Fleming himself said Bond was sapper from the waist up and Mickey Spillane below.
That's such a brilliant description. So the core elements, the gentleman spy, the licensed violence for the state, the dry wit that's all Drummond.
Pretty much. He lays the foundation for the spy thriller hero, even though he starts out as a freelancer, basically. You just can't study the genre without going back to Drummond.
And that enduring relevance, that foundational status, that's exactly why a publisher like Eager Dragon Publishing would choose this for their illustrated classics collection.
Makes perfect sense. It's a thrilling read, sure, but it's also about that deep human need for purpose, especially in what their new prologue calls the quiet unease of post-war Britain.
Yeah, it's a window, maybe a sometimes uncomfortable window into the anxieties of that interwar period. Which is why, as you said, context is everything.
Okay, so let's dig into those themes then. Boredom, fear, survival.
Right. The boredom we've touched on, that post-war malaise, peace as a suffocating blanket, Drummond needing chaos just to feel alive.
You know, the original edition even had an introduction highlighting that. His longing for diversion, no matter how dangerous. It wasn't hidden.
And then, boom, Carl Peterson arrives to answer that need for chaos. This is where it escalates, right? From personal angst to this huge international threat.
Peterson, Elise Comte. And his motivation isn't really ideology, is it? It's darker. Vengeance, maybe. Supreme egoism. And this deep-seated hatred for England.
What's fascinating is the nature of his plot. Not just robbery. He wants to Bolshevize England.
Which, in the 1920s, tapped right into that massive Red Scare anxiety. It was a real, palpable fear.
And his method is this terrifying blend of high finance and revolutionary talk. He plays both sides.
Making him seem like both a revolutionary mastermind and a kind of high society criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
He connects all the dots of post-war fear. Social collapse, international money power, shadowy foreign enemies.
We see that network early on, Chapter 1, that secret meeting.
Yeah.
Peterson, the American millionaire Hiram C. Potts, and the two Germans, von Trapp and Herr Steinmann.
And crucially, what binds them? Not patriotism. The war arguably destroyed that for men like them. It's money.
Right. A cold, cosmopolitan disregard for nations. They're explicitly planning to profit from England's collapse.
Peterson even spells it out. The war was fought by idiots, he says. Now it's time for clever international men like them to take over.
Their only viewpoint is our own point of view. It's pure self-interest. Peterson's basically aiming to be an autocrat, isn't he? Just point his finger and cause destruction and annihilation.
Supreme ego disguised as revolution. It's quite chilling.
Which brings us to that really jarring contrast in the book. Drummond treating it like a game.
Versus the actual horror of what Peterson and Lakington do.
Drummond's got his loaded automatic, sure, but he's also got that water squirt pistol, the son of a gun. It's almost farcical.
It feels like that British coping mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Using humor to deflect terror, because the terror is real.
Oh, it is. Peterson and his sidekick, Henry Lakington, their methods are brutal, calculated.
They murder Potts' secretary in Belfast right at the start. Sets the tone. No messing around.
And how they coerce Potts himself. It's medieval.
The thumbscrew. I mean, think about that. A medieval torture device used by this supposedly modern international conspiracy.
They crush his thumb to force him to sign over the money. It's this primal violence beneath the sophisticated surface.
And then there's the acid bath.
Ugh. Disposing of their own associate, Ivelesby, that way. That seals it, doesn't it? They're not just criminals. They're archetypal supervillains. Theatrical, grotesque.
It's a direct line to the kind of stuff you see later with Bond villains, Spectre, that kind of thing.
And this mix, the light adventure tone clashing with really dark violence, it's fascinating historically, but it definitely creates issues for a modern reader.
Which brings us back to the importance of how it's presented today, like in the Eager Dragon Publishing edition.
Exactly. Because let's be honest, the book is a product of its time. The nationalism is intense. The xenophobia calling Germans Boches, it's right there.
And the classism, the whole gentleman hero thing, it's baked in.
So you can't just ignore that stuff. You need context.
And that's what the Eager Dragon Illustrated Edition aims to provide. It's not just the text, it's the scaffolding around it. That critical essay, the new prologue, new epilogue, the for the modern reader section.
It's about helping you understand why it was written this way, what anxieties it reflected, without actually endorsing those outdated views.
Right. It lets you appreciate the thrill ride, the historical significance, while still engaging critically with the problematic aspects.
Okay, let's talk characters. Phyllis Benton. She really kicks the whole thing off, doesn't she?
She does. The brave civilian who actually answers Drummond's crazy ad. She's the catalyst.
And she insists on meeting him for tea at the Carlton first, which I love. Very civilized way to check if this potential lunatic is genuine.
But her discovery is huge. She's the one who finds Lakington's secret room at the Elms.
And that room, it's pure pulp horror. Windowless, steel bars, concrete floor, big safes in the wall, like a Bond villain's lair decades early.
Inside, she spots stolen goods, miniatures, jewels, and that specific gold chalice cup the moneylender, Samuel Levy, is looking for. Suddenly, it's not just politics, it's massive organized crime, too.
And her courage, mixed with the obvious danger she's in, well, it sparks the romance.
Totally. The relationship moves incredibly fast because the stakes are so high. Drummond basically sweeps her off her feet, and they have that big confession scene on the Hog's Back. Classic adventure romance.
Now, the villains, Carl Peterson, he's brilliant in his own twisted way. That inhuman calmness.
Yeah, the book says he could have been anything, a great lawyer, a statesman, but there's that kink in the brain that twisted him into a master criminal.
That moral flaw is key. He sees himself as above it all, and, crucially, he gets away at the end of this book.
Yep. Just leaves that chilling little message, au revoir, until we meet again. It perfectly sets up the serial nature, the returning villain, another genre trope McNeill helped establish.
Then there's Henry Lakington, Peterson's scientific partner in crime.
Pretty much. He represents that fear of science gone wrong. He's obsessed with the loot, the valuables, like the Duchess of Hampshire's pearls they plot to steal.
And his end is just perfectly ironic, isn't it? Horrific, but ironic.
Oh, completely. After using the acid bath on Ivelsby, Drummond forces him into it. He escapes, clothes burning, skin searing.
Mad with pain, only to run straight into his own booby trap.
That steel weight on the stairs, designed to snap necks, killed by his own paranoia-fueled invention. It's grisly poetic justice.
We definitely need to talk about Irma Peterson, too. She's fascinating.
Peterson's accomplice, beautiful, foreign, dangerous. She's like a prototype of the femme fatale, but also maybe something more modern.
She really embodies that disruptive flapper energy, doesn't she? Smoking, drinking, completely amoral by the old standards, the dangerous new woman.
And she's complex. She actually says she wants to marry that man, meaning Drummond.
Why? Because he's quite the least boring individual she's ever met.
Which is such a backhanded compliment, but it perfectly captures Drummond's appeal, doesn't it? His sheer chaotic energy is attractive, even to the enemy.
Her big scene, trying to steal the Duchess's pearls at Laidley Towers, really shows her calculating side.
Oh yeah, she plays the part perfectly. Poses as this poor girl whose father died in the war.
Pulling on the heartstrings of Lady Frumpley, the aristocratic hostess, she knows exactly how to manipulate the upper crust's sense of charity and, frankly, snobbery.
Leveraging social conventions to commit crime. She's sharp.
Okay, so this book, it's got the action, the characters, the historical context, but also these period issues we talked about, which makes the presentation really important.
Absolutely, and that brings us squarely back to the Eager Dragon publishing approach with their illustrated classics. It's about responsible curation, isn't it?
It really is. It's not just sticking pictures in an old book. It's about adding value, providing that critical lens.
So they include things like the introduction, the critical essay, the author bio, that for the modern reader section.
Plus the new prologue and epilogue. It's a whole package designed to frame the original text.
The new parts are key for context. That new prologue, setting the scene Drummond's restlessness against the backdrop of post-war trauma. It preps you for the 1920s mindset.
And the new epilogue is really interesting. It looks back at the end of this first adventure and suggests Drummond found something deeper than just a game.
Right, it says the fight against Peterson had ignited a deeper purpose. He found a cause, found love with Phyllis.
He becomes, as they put it, a symbol of resistance against the unseen, insidious forces threatening the very fabric of his society.
And framing it that way helps you appreciate it as both thrilling fiction and a snapshot of historical fears about communism, about unchecked finance, all of it.
And the illustrations themselves, that visual element, that's crucial too for an illustrated classic. We might not have them right here, but you can imagine how they'd bring scenes to life.
Oh, definitely. Like that confrontation in Lakington's secret room. Or The fight with Peterson's gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla fight. How would you even illustrate that? It's so pulp.
Well, the text mentions he kills it with Olaki's most dangerous throw, snapping its neck. A good illustration would capture that brutal, precise violence, make it immediate for a modern reader used to seeing action visually.
It bridges the gap, doesn't it, between the sometimes dated prose of the 1920s and our modern expectations.
Exactly. It connects the visceral thrill of the original with a kind of scholarly appreciation for its place in literary history. It's the full package, really.
For anyone who's curious about where the modern thriller really started.
So if you want to see exactly how Eager Dragon Publishing has brought this foundational adventure novel back to life with all that context,
you can see this complete edition and acquire it at www.eagerdragon.com.
Okay, so Drummond realizes pretty quickly he can't do this alone, right?
Yeah.
One man against this huge conspiracy.
Nope. So he does the logical thing for an ex-officer. He recruits his mates, his old comrades from the war.
Does his personal quest into a sort of unofficial commando unit. The Gang of the Boys.
It's a great dynamic. Peter Darrell, Toby Sinclair, Ted Merningham, Jerry Seymour.
And Algie Longworth.
Oh.
He's key. The source mentions his assumed flippancy hiding an iron nerve. That classic stiff upper lip combined with humor.
They're all decorated veterans, instantly form this high-functioning team, bonded by war and, well, peacetime boredom.
Yeah, their first big mission together. Infiltrating Peterson's HQ, the Elms. The plan is just brilliant. Pure theater.
Chapter 6, right. Drummond comes up with this fantastic decoy. His friends basically stage a drunken riot at the gates.
Crash Algie's car, singing loudly, pretending to be completely sloshed.
All that noise and chaos deliberately draws Peterson's guards away.
Allowing Drummond to slip inside unnoticed. It's genius.
It's exactly that comparatively humorous crime he asked for in the ad, but the humor serves a deadly, serious purpose.
And once inside, things get chaotic fast. He uses that ammonia water pistol, the son of a gun, on a guard. Manages to rescue Potts again.
But then, the gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla.
Yeah.
Such a pulp moment, but it underscores the savage reality beneath Peterson's civilized veneer.
And Drummond has to deal with it. Again, emphasizing his training, not just shooting wildly, but using that specific martial art throw, Alaki's technique, to snap its neck. Disciplined violence.
Even with that success, he still gets captured briefly, doesn't he?
Yeah, and threatened with the acid bath himself. Though thankfully, Lakington interrupts things before they get too gruesome for our hero.
But the destruction of the Elms isn't the end. The plot has to go international to reveal its true scope.
Right. Pursuit to Paris. Classic thriller move. Takes the hero out of his element.
And there he bumps into an American detective.
Mr. Jerome K. Green. Also hunting Peterson and Potts. Which instantly signals that this isn't just an internal British problem, it's global.
And Green reveals the financial engine behind the revolution plot. Potts, the shipping magnate, was targeted for £250,000.
Which sounds maybe not that much today, but back then, a fortune. Part of a $1 million total conspiracy.
And in return for funding the chaos, Potts was promised control of the British carrying trade afterwards.
So it confirms Peterson's real motive. Pure profit. Using political upheaval as a smokescreen. It's not just Bolshevism, it's disaster capitalism 1920s style.
And the adventure wouldn't be complete without one last attempt on Drummond's life, would it?
Of course not. Back in his fancy hotel room at the Ritz, no less.
An assassin with a blowpipe and poisoned darts. Very exotic, very deadly.
But Drummond reacts instantly, that common sense ingenuity again. Doesn't panic, just heaves a heavy cupboard onto the attacker, then hits the lights.
It's a perfect little encapsulation of his style, isn't it? Pragmatic, physical, immediate action beats elaborate plotting when you're about to die. The trench skills still work.
Okay, so wrapping this up, looking back at the whole story, what really stands out is just the sheer scale of Peterson's operation.
It wasn't just him and a couple of thugs. It was this huge network across England, directors, sub-directors, dozens of lecturers, spreading the revolutionary message.
It tapped right into those very real fears about Bolshevism spreading after the Russian Revolution. But McNeill cleverly combined that political fear with straightforward high-stakes crime. The pearls, the financial coup.
It really spoke to that post-war feeling of unseen threats, of society potentially collapsing from within. And because Peterson gets away,
just leaves that single word, au revoir.
The threat remains. The game isn't over. It cemented Drummond as this figure willing to fight chaos with chaos outside the official channels. the template for the action hero who steps in when the system fails.
And you can see why it was such a release for the public back then. After the horrors and moral ambiguities of the war, here was a clear hero fighting clear villains. Good versus evil with lots of action.
Which does make you think, doesn't it, about today?
How so?
Well, the source material points out that the 1920s world felt tragically complex, and people craved a simple hero like Drummond. Our world today feels maybe even more complex, more uncertain, right?
With global networks, digital threats, things that are much harder to punch or throw a cupboard at.
Exactly. So the question for you, the listener, is, what kind of hero are we yearning for now? Is it still the Drummond type, the witty, physical, common-sense champion? Or does the nature of today's threats demand something completely different?
That's definitely something to think about. A good question to mull over until our next deep dive.
And for anyone whose interest has been piqued by Bulldog Drummond and wants to experience this foundational story with all the historical context and fantastic visuals we've discussed, remember the Eager Dragon Publishing Edition.
To explore this and other illustrated editions, visit www.eagerdragon.com. That's the home of the classics Reawakened.